From WFAA-TV, Channel 8, this is Good Morning Texas.
Still to come this morning, the link between allergies and snoring. Dr. Craig Schwimmer from the Snoring Center is here to tell us how you can get a good night's sleep.
Before the freezing temperatures this past weekend, allergy sufferers were screaming for some relief. Millions of Americans spend most of their life sneezing, wheezing, or coughing. Some even find it hard to sleep. But Dr. Craig Schwimmer of the Snoring Center says you don't have to suffer anymore. He's here to tell us about a snoring treatment that can benefit allergy sufferers. Say it's true.
It is true.
That's amazing. You know, I can't believe the amount of allergies that are just in Texas. When I lived in the Northeast, I never had such problems. Why do we see Dallas or maybe Texas suffering more than any other region?
You know, Dallas is always in the top 10 list of worst allergy cities. And there's a lot of reasons for it, from geography and plants that we have locally in the mountain cedar, a little bit down south. There's also a lot of environmental contributors, but undoubtedly, Dallas is a really rough place for allergy sufferers.
And what does allergies and snoring and sleep have to do with each other?
Well, they're clearly related. Anything that causes nasal blockage can worsen snoring and indeed sleep apnea. And so, you know, what do allergies cause? Nasal blockage, facial pressure, postnasal drainage, and all of those things can contribute significantly to snoring. And almost everybody who has allergies says, yeah, my snoring is worse when my allergies are acting up.
Okay, but there are things that we can do
Absolutely.
to aid in this.
Absolutely. And you know, the basic allergy prevention measures are worthwhile for everybody. If you're allergic to grass, don't go out when people are cutting their grass, wear a mask, try to minimize your exposure to things to which you're allergic. Beyond that, sort of medical intervention, nasal steroid sprays are really the mainstay of therapy for people with nasal allergies. And they're wonderful, and there's a variety of different brands, and they're all equally safe, and it's really a question of finding one that the patient is comfortable with. And
but
the patient's...
I mean, just spray that real quick, because I would never want to use that, because it just feels like it would be very uncomfortable and hard to do every single day.
Well, that's the issue, is that for a lot of people using this, you know, every day, it's a compliance problem.
So there are surgical options.
There are, absolutely. And one of the things that's really very exciting for people with nasal allergies is a new technique to shrink some of the tissue inside the nose. And we've been doing similar procedures in the operating room for a long time to reduce the volume of tissue inside the nose and open things up. But now, using a device called coblation, we can take this little wand, and again, you know, at the Snoring Center, we don't hurt people, we don't take them to the operating room, so this is done in the office.
That's good to know you don't hurt people, because that looked like it might hurt people.
Well, it's sharp, but we get you numb first. And so, you know, we spray down the nose and get it numb, and then, you know, this just goes into the nose, and we use radio frequency energy to shrink the turbinates, the sidewall structures in the nose. And this immediately and permanently reduces the volume of tissue inside the nose, it decreases the allergic response, and it's incredibly effective at reducing nasal obstruction, postnasal drainage, facial pressure, all of those nasal allergy symptoms, and to the extent that those contribute to snoring, it can really benefit snorers as well.
And what is this called again?
It's called coblation, which stands for cold ablation, and it uses radio frequency energy to evaporate or vaporize tissue.
Radio frequency energy. Explain that a little bit more, how that shrinks the tissue.
It's smarter than I am, but it uses radio frequency energy to, it creates a plasma field, and tissue actually vaporizes. And it's very sort of Star Trek scientific, and I don't know that I completely understand it, but
it works.
But it works.
And it doesn't hurt.
And it doesn't hurt.
How long does this procedure take?
About 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
In and out?
Yeah.
And what's the success rate on this? Are people really finding this relief and sleeping through the night?
It's remarkable. Some 95% of people get significant relief with this.
That is amazing. Are we doing anything in our daily lives that are sabotaging our sleep with allergies, from the room temperature to what we're wearing to what we're eating?
Absolutely, and to our bedding. You know, if you've got down allergies and you've got down pillows, that's a bad thing.
I would assume so.
It's amazing to me how many people have cat allergies, and yet they let their cat sleep on their bed because they love them.
Right. Do you think that maybe we're not aware of these allergies? We think that it's just a small allergy, it's a little bit irritating, but we don't really know what it's doing to our insides?
Yeah, I think that's some of it, and some of it is that as human beings, we like to do what we like to do, and we don't like to do things that we're told to do. Compliance with intervention is always a really big issue. Another thing that people do that sort of sabotages their sleep when they treat their allergies is if you use the over-the-counter sedating antihistamines. Benadryl is one. Those are effective at treating your allergies, but they're very, very sedating, and they clearly worsen your sleep and your snoring.
Yes, and you just feel groggy. You don't feel so
Absolutely.
great. So a 10-minute procedure like this can really solve the issue. What's the success rate on this? What's your feedback?
95%. People love it.
Wow.
Because it's amazing that people who have been suffering for years and years and years and needing daily medication can come in, get a 10-minute little procedure.
And do they feel better that night? Are they sleeping better
immediately? It typically takes a couple of days. The swelling has to go down, but after a couple of days, people feel great.
A couple of days. Hey, that's worth it for a lifetime of suffering. Come in and do a little 10-minute procedure and sleep better, because sleep is important, as we know, isn't it, Craig?
Yes,
All right, well, thank you so much for being here today, helping us allergy sufferers. And you can find out more about this surgery performed at the Snoring Center by logging on to snoringcenter.com or by calling 214-369-2345.